So you see what we're doing, we're just going through each planet, but as we're doing this, what the purpose in this is you're getting familiar with each other planet. Each planet's becoming like a friend you know a certain amount about, a person you know a bit about. So here they are, and you can see how they pick up certain attitudes. You can see how the energy goes into the houses. And when we start putting this together, even if you just took the basic categories, you could look at a planet and you see, is it geared towards freedom or responsibility? What attitude does it have? And is it working out objectively or subjectively? So from the signs to the houses, you start putting this together, that's really insightful perceptions of a person's behavioral pattern. So for each planet. I don't think you can memorize this. I think you get to know the structure, you memorize the structure, and know the categories, and then you work it. You just make the association and you work it and you're stretching it. And the more you do this, the more familiar, the more times you sleep with someone, the more familiar that person gets. Or the more you live with someone, or you're friends with someone, it's still the more you go over each of these factors, the more it becomes yours. When you meet someone that has it, or when you have it, it's yours. And then you have experiential confirmation of the theory and the language of astrology. So the challenge, this is why the worksheets, it's the challenge is so that you get experiential factors confirming that this is so. And you may not have clear ones, you may get different ones. Sometimes you're so sure that, oh, that's obviously this. Sometimes you're struggling for it, but you're still making this association cross. And it's the way to develop the right muscles to win the language, to get your confidence up about it. Otherwise, you just look at it, you take the first idea that comes up about that sign you're talking about, and the person must be like that, and you're missing all the layers. Okay, when it's in the succeedant houses of having and using what you have, I have this, I use it. So if you have Uranus in the second house, that's subjective, that's rising, the intuitive section, you have your own sense of, I'm going to use my money my own way. If I want to spend it for something, if I want to spend it on a keyboard or a turntable or electronic thing, if I want to do something different with it, I'm going to do it. Don't try to tell me how to spend my money. There's something exciting. Oh, I got to have that. You know, it could be the spinners that kids have today. It could be food. There's so many things came up. I was searching the web the other day also, they came up. So I was magnifying glass, a digital magnifying microscope. Wow, that's perfect gift for the kids. It looks too cool for the grandkids. Perfect gift. So had to order those up, but it was like an independent point. That's something in a behavior that I did that would fit into that category. But people have that attitude of, don't tell me what to do. It can be worried. I don't have enough money to do this. I'll never get this much money. And I'm not prepared to compromise to get it. I don't want to have to just fit in to get it. How am I going to make money in my own way? How am I going to use my talents when nobody's really listening to them? So you're trying to project subjectively and use what you have excitingly to make things happen. Your sun, everything else, other place, but your Uranus is there. So you got to find a way of making your own money and being independently, like whether you're doing sales or driving an Uber or doing something, you know, like doing astrology on the side. Doing astrology, you're at home, you got the kids, you're still doing astrology, but people come in, talk to you, you still can make money, and it allows you the freedom to get to other things. Okay, but when the freedom's not there, there's anxiety. I can't do this, can I do this? So sometimes there's a tendency with Uranus sometimes to negate it, to say, instead of having the freedom to just do it independently, almost irresponsibly, there becomes the worry of it. Oh, geez, if I ever went that would cause so much instability. I would lose so much. I can't take any risks with because I would lose. I have to be too independent. So it can cause a worry that makes a person super conservative, not because it's practical, because of the anxiety. And if that happens, there'll be a point in their life where they have to break through that or interfere with relationships and other things. But that security complex is here's the excitement of Neptune, the wave, of Uranus, the wave, but it's going quickly. The undertow or the shock is, oh my goodness, I can't deal with this. I better be safe. I better not let it come. It's coming. But in the moment, someone could use their money very independently, or someone could be unstable, insecure about their money, what they have. Even if they have a lot of things, they might worry about it more. Okay, but certainly they would be in a relationship, they would be upset about how the partner used the money. If the partner was using their money, it would hit a nerve. Okay, so you see it working in one way. The opposite side will give you ideas how things can work against it. But Uranus is just, the houses are there. We're just putting the excitement, the need to have and use things independently, have special things, to have differently, to have different talents, to use things excitingly. You have to do that. When it's in the 11th house, it's having and using friends and enemies, having and using friends, the people you know. So I need to know, maybe I got to know exciting friends. I got to have unconventional friends. Uranus is going to be destabilizing the friendship, unstable friendships, but exciting friendships, stimulating friendships. There's a need to impress friends with how different you are and to be part of this, the astrology group, or part of this. There's a need to go on that excitement. And it becomes a peer pressure thing. There's a need for excitement. So there's a need to be different to impress the friends, but there's also a worry about not fitting into the friends. So there could be the anxiety about peer pressure, but the need to one-up it could be there with the Uranus. Or it could just be simply like there's all these layers of consciousness. It's like a jewel with like 100 facets, and one or two of them are clear and you can see it's a jewel, but all the rest are still all covered over. So most of us live in one or two, but there's always 100, 1,000 facets to how you can use it, and we're trying to uncover it when we're thinking about it. The more you stop and think, the more you take time to work on it, try and write a book on any one of these factors, and you'll clear up a lot more of the facets, and you'll see more clearly. But this is about unconventional friends, having friends or being insecure about friends, having excitement from friends and being let down by friends, wanting to be part of this shocking group or part of the team, and but you want to be the independent one in the team, but not everyone else might want to be the independent one in the team too. And there's only one quarterback, or there's only one captain, so like there's a push for being that excellent one, but an anxiety about not being there if you're not there, or about other people being there. So this is all on the rising side. So when you have it on the succeeding side, the trust house in the 8th house, if Uranus in the 8th house, it's having joint resources. So if you have the resources of the marriage, two people together, or two people in business, you put the energy together. Well, by putting this together, we can make our business grow. So you put it together. But if you have Uranus there, you're going to tend to use that money of the togetherness independently more quickly, and you get a good idea, you got to go for it. You spend it, like you're likely to buy the car without telling the husband or the wife before that you were thinking of doing that. Then they got the shock of, you used our money for this. Or you could be very innovative in how we're going to invest our money and what we're going to do, but there's a need to do it unconventionally. So there's a risk factor there, an excitement factor, but not always a stable factor. It's just in the 8th house, it's more other people's monies. In the 2nd house, it's your own resources and what you have and how you use it. In the 11th house, it's your friends and your social situation you're looking for excitement. In the 5th house, it's your performance. So you're looking for excitement. You want to perform excitedly. You want your kids to be different. You want it to be exciting. You want to do it differently. You want to be innovative in what your kids do and what you do. Okay. So you meet a really beautiful artist, a great artist, and you think, wow, this is really exciting. I really like this person's performance. Now, there's always a fight between these two sides. Having friends and having lovers are two different things. Trying to decide who's a friend and who's a lover. This is the opposition between the 11th and 5th houses. When you have a lover, it's hard to be friends with a lover because you're a little bit more overly sensitive and personal with it. When you have friends, if you make a friend a lover, you can spoil a friendship because it becomes more personal and smothering. It's not so socially open. But if you have Uranus in these areas, it doesn't need to be exciting to do your own thing. But that's going to diminish your ability to respond to other people. Or maybe you respond and attract someone exciting, and then that excites you and shocks you, and then you perform around it. But in either case, you're building up the feelings, and you're having to use the feelings independently. You're having to use the sensations and the joint resources independently. You're having to have friends that you can have excitement and freedom with, and you're having to use your resources freely. These are the four. Having Uranus there, these are fixed houses. So Uranus there shakes that stability up and wants it to be different. So there's many different ways or facets to how someone can be different or be independent or look for excitement or run into shock or sudden change. But it is on one level in the houses, Uranus is a destabilizing factor. It's unstable wherever it is. But that instability forces you to think outside of the box, to be more independent. And that can cause a great creativity. So, or a certain genius can come through it. So these problems can force a special take on something that other people wouldn't necessarily have. See, just going over this all the time, it would be boring if it didn't relate to you personally, to each person you would meet. These are factors you can see in people's lives. Studying astrology is so living. It's how can it get boring? You know, like sometimes when you're starting and you see these advanced books talking about this aspect was here, this square's here, this was conjuncting this, so, and this transit was affecting this, progression affecting this, and it looks so common, you say, I could never read that. And then when you get to advanced levels, it's almost harder to read anything but that, because it's got all the detail, and you go, oh yeah, it's very literal, but you have to make this depth and these symbols real before you can really do that very well. Okay. When it's in the mutable house, in the cadent houses, they're the houses of understanding or transforming. They're changing. They're always changing, and you're having adjust your understanding or adjust your transforming. So Uranus there, it's shocking, but it's shocking in a way that is always trying to change things anyways. So there's a very innovative quality to Uranus in these houses. It's already changing things, so you're always going to change this, change that, go on to this, go on to that, transform this. There's a need to be different in your understanding or in the way you transform things. You can't just do things the way people tell you to. I got a lot of planets in the third house, but if you have Uranus in the cadent house, first you try and get the sense of the house. Then you see, oh, you add Uranus to that. Oh, here's the sudden disturbance, the shock, the excitement, the not fitting in, having to get a different take on these things. So when Uranus in the third house, it's really great for learning astrology or taking a new take on things, seeing new things, being able to express yourself excitingly, being able to talk about deep things excitingly. Wow, as long as the deep things are really deep. But if it's your depth is very shallow and superficial, based on what you think is important, where your sun is, and that your expression will be relevant to interrelated to that. But the need for thinking for yourself and getting exposed to special knowledge or special insights and trying to prove them and get to them and use them, that's a good use. It could be a writer, a teacher, but they're going to have their own way of teaching. They can't just teach the way the principal wants them to. They're going to have their own take on it. Just because they need to express themselves independently or negatively, just talk about their worries. Okay. If they're not being independent and exciting about and they're not learning from the things around you, reading, discovering new ideas or whatever on the web, whatever, well, that's going to implode. And if they're not exciting, they're going to be anxious. I'm afraid to go that way. I've only done this all my life. I can never take that risk to do something that differently. And yet that risk can sit there a whole lifetime. And sometimes it comes out when someone's 20, sometimes it comes out when they're 30, sometimes it comes out when someone's 70. It'll peak at different times. We can know these times, but they come later. Right now, you just want to see this predisposition, this excitement and this vulnerability. Person could think, I think too clearly myself. Why would I stay in school? Why study anything else? Why not just do my own thing? That would be like a Uranus third house puzzle. Subjective, my take on things, don't tell me.